This is Jonathan Ferguson, the Keeper of Firearms and Artillery at the Royal Armouries Museum in the UK, which houses a collection of thousands of iconic weapons from throughout history. And I'm your host, Dave Jewett, and today we are checking out an absolute classic, so join us as we discuss the weapons of Predator.
Ol Painless, and we're right at the scene where we almost get the sort of cocking twist action, which is really just for effect. What he's actually doing there when he gets it out of the bag, he's literally just manually rotating it to the next firing position and back again, pretty much.
Our extended edition is an even deeper dive into Predator. There's a link in the description below if you want to check that out. But without further ado, it's over to Jonathan.
You son of a bitch.
Here we go with Predator. I think I had to get into my 40s before I finally decided that this is in fact my favourite movie of all time. I brought my t-shirt. The one time I did actually start bleeding, I didn't have the presence of mind to say I ain't got time to bleed. But anyway, so yeah, yes, we have Arnie's guns. I noticed the Americans don't call him Arnie. They always call him Arnold. Weirdly British thing to call him Arnie.
Since those are the first guns that really appear in the film.
Yeah, and what guns they are. Carl Weathers doing his very best to represent there.
He spent too much time pushing pencils.
I fear that won't be the last one of those. It was good, to be fair. I think that was a good one. Yeah, this is square in the era of we can't get the real thing, so we need to make do. And how they made do was with a Colt SP1, AR-15 SP1, which is the reason for the ongoing confusion over AR-15 is the civilian version. No, it's not. AR-15 is the family. The AR-15 SP1 was the civilian version. And then, of course, there were other civilian versions that followed it. Hence the confusion. And some politics. Something. Stop talking, Jonathan. Anyway, so we've got our Colt SP1 converted to automatic, blazing away. And we have the underbarrel launcher, which is visibly not a 203. Let's stop teasing. So here's what they were going for. Oh look, it's an AR-15. It's a fully automatic AR-15. Because there are millions of those in the world, just to really beat that dead horse. And the 203 launcher, I'll show you its markings as well, if I can see my screen there. So it's a custom, I remember having to look this up at one point, custom 39mm launcher, because it's before the 37mm flare launcher that's, like, I guess, recreationally popular, where it's not straightforward matter to get hold of a real 40mm launcher. So, correct setup, movie setup, but it does do a good job. Something I always remember about this, we may or may not see it, I think we do actually see it in a clip or one of the clips. The SP1 visibly has a blank adapter flush with the muzzle device. So you can clearly see it's got something in there that it ought not to have. And that is to restrict the bore down so that it has enough back pressure to cycle the action. It's a blank adapter, but it's not one of the invisible blank adapters, or functionally invisible, that they developed later. It's inside the muzzle device. So watch out for that. If you've seen the movie as much as I have, you won't mind a bit of minutiae like that spoiling your immersion. Good to have the proper USGI version of this iconic setup. I mean, the great thing about the M16, the early M16 being so lightweight, is you slap this thing on there and it's probably the best ever combination of an underbarrel launcher and a rifle. I guess you could argue the Kar-15 XM177 might be even better. That was rarely equipped with a grenade launcher, but there's just something so iconic about this. Not just for Predator, of course. Scarface gets a very honourable mention from me, even though it's nowhere near for me as a movie. But of course, that's not it for the AR-15 in this movie. We do have another SP1. You can see our slick-sided lower receiver there with the nut at the front. Sorry, not nut, but the fixed pivot pin, which I can't show on this because it's a real one, quote unquote. The very early AR-15 full autos also had slick-sided receivers, but what they never had was that great big slot-headed pivot pin. You can always spot the SP1 that way. And this is another one with A2 handguards. So the nylon handguards, the round ribbed ones, which is pretty early, really, for those to show up. So almost masquerading as an M16A2 with a Mossberg 500 master key, so-called master key. Because the idea of a shotgun under an AR or whatever is taking doors off hinges. It's not, I don't believe it was intended for fighting, although knowing the crazy stuff that went down with shotguns in Vietnam, I'm sure someone was thinking about using it in the way it's depicted in the movie. Kind of looks a little silly in the wide shots where the shotgun barrel's protruding so far out, but
because a lot of these weapons are so massive, but also the actors are so massive, they don't actually feel that big. Like I've seen M16s with M203s and M16s with master keys and pick them up, and I'm like, these are like lengthy, sizable, heavy weapons when, you know, they're in their combination, but they're sort of dwarfed by the guys holding them.
Yeah, which it makes the MP5s look like toys. Carl Weathers with his MP5, so it looks like what it is, a machine pistol, I guess. This flare launcher threw me off for a long time, and that's for good reason, because it's actually a fabrication built for the production, really anticipating the development of the Milcore launcher and launchers like it later on with a rotary. I mean, I guess they were looking at experimental stuff, but they built this themselves. And it especially throws you off because it's got this H&K buttstock sticking up behind. So you think, oh, is that some sort of experimental H&K rotary launcher? No.
I was reading that it was made from, was it the AN-M5 discharger, but with a bunch of HK94 bits on it?
Yeah, it's a smoke discharger. So, but yeah, I mean, they must have seen, I'm trying to think of the timeline on the Milcore, because I think that's the earliest one they would have come across. But obviously we've had the Manville launcher, tear gas launcher existed by this time, so they might be just extrapolating that. It's a shotgun version in Dogs of War, isn't it? Anyway, I probably need to do a little bit more. I mean, it's all speculative when you're trying to second guess this stuff, unless you get hold of the armourers, of course. I am known to pester them sometimes, so that might be one we can. Oh, what was your inspiration for making that launcher? And I can hear eyes rolling in the distance.
We dive even deeper into the absolute gun show that is Predator in our Patreon exclusive extended edition. Join today and you'll also get instant access to next week's episode too. Becoming a patron comes with perks such as 1 week early access to videos, Discord access, and we have over 90 Patreon exclusive director's cut episodes and a bunch more bonus content. Either way, whether you join the Patreon or watch along here on YouTube, I want to say thank you for being part of EXP, and now I'll get back to the video.
Payback time.
What do you think? Do we need the minigun on a trolley?
I mean, if we're ever going to get a minigun out for a movie episode.
Fine. I should have known.
Jonathan's poorly today and I'm making him wheel around miniguns.
Here we go. Yeah, it's hefty, all right.
Yeah, having picked that up myself, I can attest to its heftiness, and Jesse Ventura, you and I are not.
Definitely not. Yeah, these guys are absolute units. Goes without saying, really, but yeah, I'm not sure people appreciate just how much this weighs. Like, it does have a big steel pintle on the bottom of it in this case. But yeah, Ol Painless, and we're right at the scene where we almost get the sort of cocking twist action, which is really just for effect. But yeah, if you've ever wondered what he's actually doing there when he gets it out of the bag, he's literally just manually rotating it to the next firing position and back again, pretty much, which does absolutely nothing. The ease with which he is moving around with that thing, and you think, oh, it's probably a rubber one. No, obviously not, because he is actually firing it. A couple of shots where you get the sense of its weight. They essentially put a huge carry handle on the top of it, which gets machined off, unfortunately, for T2 when this shows up later. So obviously it's a sling loop, effectively, in this movie, but it looks like a giant carry handle, and they just cut that off. And I have that photo of me holding what I initially thought is the minigun from Predator and T2, and I was informed was not. The gun was not from that movie, but the backpack and the rig was from those two movies, and you could tell that. But I was then told that the gun that was in this rig I was holding like straining, was the minigun from the helicopter scene in The Matrix, and probably almost certainly other movies as well. So I didn't feel as bad that it wasn't the gun.
I saw they dropped the RPM way down as well, so you could see the barrel spin. Like in reality, they should be going at an even heavier chat.
That's a fact I also don't remember, but makes sense, yeah. And of course he gets, they all get resurrected at the end for a cheesy credit scene that we love. We actually recreated this in-house for a Meet the Team video at the Armories. And I said, I want an MP5 throwing at me, and I catch it. So I put some foam down in case I missed. And we used one that was not a museum object, shall we say. So a real MP5, but would not have kept me up nights had I dropped. And it would have been protected had I done, but I didn't. I caught it first time. I'm not Carl Weathers, but yeah, that's what we did. So we all turned to camera with a cheesy grin, and our names came up.
Have you got access to this? I think I need to see this.
I will see if we can release that for this video, if you remind me.
That's why people come to this channel now.
What, for my humiliation? Yeah. It's fair. You can spot some of the prop fabrications where they've just spray painted over without preparing the finish, and it just rubs off after a week of shooting or whatever, or less potentially.
This is still very much in the era of we can't get actual MP5s. So here's some HK94s.
But yeah, just a random MP5 A3. Now obviously these guys are Die Hard style, cut down, converted HK94s. Close enough for government work, as it were. You'd spot the lack of tri-lug muzzle. And then of course the lower receiver being sheet metal with a polymer grip, which was never done on real MP5s.
It's so unnerving seeing it continue to fire and the arm wiggle after it's been blown off.
I know. I'm not sure that's biologically possible, by the way. Like, you get your arm severed with your finger on the trigger. There's nothing for that to keep that tendon pulling that finger back. It would instantly relax. But it's a cool shot, if a bit disturbing. That's a good shot of the muzzle there. It's actually a little bit too long as well, you can see there. I haven't ever tried to screen match the ones in this to Die Hard and see which one. That would be nerdy even for me. But I love the fact that Carl Weathers is making up for having the smallest gun by holding two of them. I think the MP5 sound effect might be a little weak sounding in this compared to Die Hard. I have to listen to them back to back. But
we have an episode on Die Hard if people want to see more movie MP5s.
It's funny actually. This gives you a much closer view of that bodged lower receiver than Die Hard does. I had a comment the other day that said something like, well, it might not have been Die Hard that they were referencing. I forget what we were talking about, but they've got a point. Like, this is very prominent in this as well. But I remember all the chatter online, like early-ish internet, being the HK94s being cut down was all about Die Hard. The MP5's not so prominent in this. It's one of the major weapons of the movie, but it's not the star. You know, there are other weapons that overshadow it, whereas for Die Hard, this is like, you can fight between this and the Steyr AUG, I guess, but AUG. Yeah, I suppose I'm trying to be a bit critical here, just not to gush the whole time, and if the MP5 sound effect's a little bit weak, it's super weak for the M60, because I'm pretty sure it's the same sound effect. They work fine. And there's a big difference between the cinema sound system experience, obviously, even in the 80s, and just an earbud in your ear. So, not something I've ever really thought about, but as I'm sitting here critiquing, there are movies that do it better. But that minigun sound effect is just utterly iconic. And is got wrong so much later on in movies and video games, where it sounds like a belt-fed, ordinary, like 600 round per minute gun, or maybe an M2. And here it's just got that machine whine with the gunshots, and then that empty spin. That kind of wah wah. But in gun form.
After just deforesting half an acre in front of you. So this is something I never knew, that originally the Predator was supposed to be wielding like a harpoon gun.
Oh, this is ringing the dimmest of bells.
Yeah, I'd never... It was only researching this episode that we found that out.
The insectoid Van Damme version doesn't have the plasma caster? Or does he have both? I don't remember. But anyway, they bring the harpoon gun back, or the staff weapon, back for Predator 2, of course. But yeah, so that shot there is meant to be a physical projectile stuck in his neck, is it?
It was originally meant to be, yeah, that harpoon.
Kind of makes sense when you think that there's way more blood there. Whereas the sort of the plasma, the heat, the energy weapon thing implies sort of cauterization, and the chest wound after the stuff spraying out the front, but that looks kind of cauterized and heat caused. Whereas that, in retrospect, does kind of look like it's just a high mass, relatively high velocity, darty thing. I don't know if I ever knew that, actually. I might be I've been reading about the Predator 2 spear gun, and I have learned but also forgotten a lot about these movies. Anyway, it works just fine as though it's a plasma blast. Some good squibbing going on there on that tree. Don't remember really picking up on that before. Big failure of 80s action for me is how little effect the bullets have. Obviously, because they're not real. They don't exist. But you get the odd like squibs in water and squibs. Some movies do it great, but plenty don't do it well at all. You just don't get the sense of any threat. So they do handle the guns well in this. Both the actors and the people shooting them, providing them, keeping them running. It's such a good slow reveal of the creature as well, in stages. It's genuinely impressive alien. In this movie, the Predator is perfect throughout for me. Absolutely perfect. The sound, the costume, the performance from Kevin Peter Hall, just it's what everyone tries to live up to, and some do. Incredible. You know, he's already huge, but they shoot him in a way that makes him seem such a threat. Which is why it's a shame in the sequels. I mean, I love most of the sequels, but the threat's just gone because they have this tradition now of always losing. And it's only so many times that the ultimate predator can fail. So we have our primitive suite of weapons, of course, versus the plasma caster of the predator, who is starting to become a little frayed himself by this point and is shooting at shadows effectively. Some great pyro. We've got the animation in post, obviously, for the effect. Still looks great. Lots of sparks everywhere. Love that. Sound effect for the plasma caster is awesome.
Yeah, I've not even realised he's not using the laser targeting anymore. He's just sort of like suppressing the tree line, sort of mirroring what
yes,
the soldiers were doing previous in the film.
Yeah,
to try and get the predator. He's
lost his cool, which is really what Arnie's trying to do here. I think he's trying to push him, waste his. I mean, he doesn't know if it uses ammunition, but use up ammunition, get distracted, show a weakness that he can then hopefully exploit. But he's like calming down now, and he's using his aiming system. Just that idea of the 3 laser dots, like laser sights, not super common. Obviously, we'd had the Terminator, very notably, starring. In a way, sounds a bit cheap. Like, well, we kind of have laser sights now, so what if we just had 3 of them? But somehow it works. It's alien enough, and it's tied to that head-up display, effectively, of the 3. And I love the way he back calculates where that's come from and like nearly gets him. Good view of the prop for the plasma caster there. Pyro effect for the... you can see it burst open at the end, actually. They must have been reloading it like a cartridge every time. And then relying heavily on animation in post for, as we see there. Such a cool looking bolt of energy. Blue. God, I'm not sure we'd seen blue other than the ion stun thing from Star Wars, which isn't really the same. Ah, that's a physical object on a wire. I never noticed that.
Yeah, they've covered the... So I think this is meant to be another one of its like spear projectiles. They then changed in post and added the plasma effect on top of it.
Holy cow. Yeah.
Because you see it go all the way through it, and there's a very clearly a solid dark object in there.
It's gone past him on a wire, which is the traditional way to do arrows and similar objects. and they've had to like overpaint it to make it an energy weapon. How did I never know this? This is incredible.
You can see the wire
Yeah, clearly.
quite clearly. Once you spot it, it's very, very
That's
prominent.
it. Ruined. Can't watch it again.
Oh no.
Only kidding, of course. God, I love that film.
What a movie. What an all-timer.
Does it show?
Go! Get to the chopper!
Thank you all for watching. Let us know what other games, movies, TV shows, or beyond you would like to see on the show. And of course, remember to subscribe. A massive shout out to all of our wonderful supporters over on the EXP Patreon who allow us to make cool content like this and have allowed us to expand into things like classic movies such as Predator. Links to support Jonathan and the Royal Armouries will also be in the description below, so make sure you check those out as well. But until next episode, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you very soon.